Hey, everybody. This is Drew from SexyNerdScience here with Josh and Dale. Say hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
There you go. That's Josh or Dale knows what's up. So I got a good show for you guys here. I'm going to try and look at, what's going on here. So, guys, second to last. Hi, Mom. Second to last recording. How are we feeling?
Feeling pretty good.
Feeling good.
I broke my phone the other day.
Did you?
Do you need
I
a new
did.
phone? I can help.
No, I'm not buying anything from you. So I cracked it right in the corner here. You can see that a little bit.
No.
This mic actually, it was underneath my, it was on my table, and it actually fell right on the mic fell right on my phone and cracked it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wouldn't happen if you had a tempered glass screen protector.
I'm not putting a screen protector on my phone.
$9.99 at Walmart.
$100?
No, $9.99.
Oh, that's not bad.
Gross.
I know. I got a good one on mine. It's pretty nice.
You guys became very low when we started recording.
Low?
Low?
Oh, now you're good.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was just because I wasn't talking.
Neither of us were talking. We were like, I'm trying to share the deal.
I already shared the deal. It was done. And
Gotcha.
shipped.
So I have a few things written down. We are the second to last recording Miss Bobby Brown for the year. So we will record today, put everything out tomorrow, and then we will record next week, same time on Wednesday, do a live recording, put it out on next Thursday, and then we'll be done for the year until, I believe we said January 12th? The second week in January.
Yeah.
So we're just going to take a Christmas break for a little like recap and figure out everything we want to do.
Yeah, because we're going to have some new segments come in, some new intros.
You're really low, Josh.
We're going to have some new segments, some new intros coming. We're going to turn me up a little bit.
Yeah.
Turn that stuff up.
Turn it up, turn it up.
Yo, Josh,
Plug it in, plug it in.
So I did have a few things written down if you guys wanted to go through that already, or if you guys wanted to touch base on your week, or
yeah, I think we should probably start on weeks since Drew just ran away here. Now he's back. A grape soda. Okay.
with a purple grape soda. You got McDonald's something or another.
Diet Dr. Pepper. It's a sweet one. So week so far. I got back into Pokemon Go with my Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu has got me back into playing Pokemon Go again.
I can't believe you got Pikachu instead of Eevee.
Really? Pikachu's a glass cannon awesome. Like, he's super powerful.
I don't understand.
So the game that came out for the Switch that we talked about last week had two iterations. One, you got your companion Pokemon was Pikachu, and one was Eevee.
Companion Pokemon?
The Pokemon you start with, like you did in the Game Boy games, you picked a Pokemon, whether it was Squirtle, Blastoise, or Squirtle,
Charmander, Bulbasaur.
Yeah. So your companion Pokemon that you start out with is Eevee or Pikachu.
Oh wow, why Eevee?
Because it's a money grab.
It was also because in the Pokemon Yellow version, your rival grabs an Eevee.
Oh, really?
I didn't hear Josh.
In Yellow, Pokemon Yellow, you get a Pikachu and your rival gets an Eevee.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. So are you a rival then?
Technically, I guess that's something that about the game that I think was a lot of people don't like. Your rival is like the nicest freaking guy ever. And Blue is still there to be your rival, like your real rival, because he's kind of like a cocky asshole.
What was the rival's name in Yellow?
Blue.
Yeah. But yeah, so he was and then if you had Blue, then obviously Red was your rival. But in the other games.
Yeah.
But he's just so nice. Like I think I named my guy like Poopy Fart or something. And because I thought he was going to be a jerk, and you meet him, and he's like, "Hey, let me give you all this free stuff and a bunch of money, and you're so awesome. I wish I could be like you."
What's the game called?
Pokemon Let's Go.
It's Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they technically have two. They're separate games. Like I don't know if they probably will have different numbers as far as the sales go.
Yep, and I don't think there's anything different.
Yeah.
About the
So
games.
the respawn rate or the frequency of spawning for 3 specific characters is heightened in each game.
Each one. Okay.
So I think it's Growlithe.
That's right. I remember hearing that.
So for like yellow, you get Growlithe, and for for Pikachu you get Growlithe, and for Eevee you get Vulpix or something like that. And then there's 2 other ones each for each one, but the most sought after are the Growlithe and the
Vulpix.
Vulpix. Thank you.
Which really, I mean, like it, with the fact that I can transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pikachu, is also the other reason why I've started playing Pokemon Go a lot more.
Because then you get them
Because I get
candies.
some candies. So I have a Meltan in Pokemon Let's Go, and I also have a Meltan in Pokemon Go. And the only way to level up your Meltan is to get Meltan candies. And the only way to get Meltan candies is in Pokemon Go. You have to trade a Pokemon from Pokemon Go to Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee. Then you get a special gift in Pokemon Go for trading the Pokemon. And then that gift is a Meltan incense, which just basically gets you a ton of Meltans spawning by you, and you just have to catch as many as you can.
And you get that for Pokemon Go.
Yeah, and then once you get enough candies and you can get the evolved form of Meltan, then you can trade that evolved form of Meltan to your Pokemon Go in order to get more, in order to get that Pokemon. It's really weird too, because like if you have an evolved I think I had a really nice IV Blastoise that I just transferred over, and it started at level 1, and I got to like basically have a Blastoise from level 1 and then just train it all the way up. And so it was, yeah, it was, but its IV stats were like already, like you could see that it had like +10, +8, +9, +10, like, so it was a really good one. But
I don't know. Why do they call it IV stats?
I forgot what it stands for, but like your HP, HP defense, attack, and special attack, I think, are what your IVs are. Maybe it's IVs as
individual values.
Yeah,
4. Your 4 stats.
And it's on one of those grids. So like you'll have like HP, so it forms like a what's that thing called? Geez, I'm already losing my science cred here because I can't think of a 4-sided object.
A rhombus.
Yeah.
Polygon.
Yes.
That was your science question. You failed.
Yep.
That was
the answer.
That was bad.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, not all polygons are just 4-sided, but just means multi-sided polygon. But yeah. So the quadrilateral is what I was looking for. But that's the 4 stat that it does there. I think it's even like you can get like special attack, special defense now too, so it like breaks it up that way as well. I don't know. Are we looking it up? Did anybody look it up?
Nope. I'm looking up your blind science question.
Oh, you're looking for another one?
No, that's not actually your blind science question.
Dang it.
Should have been.
It's going to be a freaking geometry question.
Shape one.
Yeah. Good.
So I had a
I don't remember the name of the 1,000-sided object.
I had some things you guys we wanted to talk about. George W. Bush passed away.
Yes.
George H.W. Bush.
George H.W. Bush.
Not George W.
Yeah.
That's W, his son, who gave a eulogy today and cried.
Yep.
But
so
yes.
I have a little bit of stats. Just we'll go through that, and then we'll touch base on it and whatnot. Yep. He died on Friday, November 30th in Houston at the age of 94. He was the president from 1981 to 1989, so he was the president when I was born. He did suffer from Parkinson's disease, and that is what killed him. He is buried at the George Bush Presidential Library. He'll be buried there tomorrow in College Station, Texas. He was our 43rd president. So those are just a little bit of stats that I thought would be useful as we talk about this.
Yeah. It was crazy to see all of the presidents that we've had kind of gathered in the same place. It was really weird because I always thought there was some but suggestion behind having the president, vice president, and speaker of the house all in one spot.
No.
But they literally were all
they do that during State of the Union.
I know.
And that's along with all the cabinet members except one.
Yeah. So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought there was something like they usually, like, if the president goes somewhere, the vice president, even if it's like a funeral or something like that, doesn't always go. Or
no, not necessarily. I mean,
in this case, everybody was there, including Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Michelle Obama, Jimmy Carter. I don't think Jimmy Carter's wife was there because I think she's dead. But Bob Dole was there.
Bob Dole.
I don't know if you remember like all the jokes about Bob Dole back in the day, but
I do not.
Bob Dole liked to refer to Bob Dole in
Josh,
third person.
What's the 7th planet from the sun?
The 7th planet from the sun? Is that really my science question? Can
No.
I just get there? Okay.
I just read it.
I was like, that's Uranus.
Uranus.
I said it right.
I'm not taking it back.
But I want to know, like, I think we've had a few presidents die in our lifetime. Do
Our
you
lifetime?
feel it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like maybe 3. What does it show any? Like, does it mean anything to you? I mean, he was a Republican, and traditionally our channel is more on the liberal side. So, how do you feel as a president passing? Like, does that?
I mean, I've never really cared too much about like partisan politics. Like when Ronald Reagan died, like that was a big deal. And like Ronald Reagan is like the conservative wet dream of a president. So like it's one of those things where like that was kind of a big deal news wise, and like the whole country mourned. And I think Ronald Reagan had the 2nd largest funeral procession ever in like United States history. I think JFK was the only one who had like a larger one, I thought.
Presidential wise?
Yeah. And then even like in like world history, I think the only procession that was bigger than that was Princess Diana. Had a huge one. But I know there was some factoid with that. But I mean, it politics aside, like it's still like that's some dude's dad. You know, that's somebody's brother. That's somebody's friend who's dead. And then obviously when like people die, they only bring up like the good stuff. Like no one wanted to talk about the bad things about President Bush. And I'm sure there were a lot of bad things that when you're of the age where, you know, President Bush, like you voted for the president, he did some kind of messed up things. When they do pass, like a lot of times you might be like, well, let's not forget about this. And I did see countless Facebook posts telling me not to forget about the all the bad things that George Bush did.
Mm-hmm. I always remember that, and this is kind of, you know, memorable to me, is that we have a system that no one else has done in history where we've passed the torch. I mean, they have since then, but at the very beginning, we passed the torch peacefully between somebody who's in power to the next person being on a different political party, wanting different things peacefully, instead of having some war or something, you know, to take over. And that is phenomenal to me. And so every time that happens, regardless if it's, you know, on my views or not, I always have to respect the people that hold that position, because more times than not, that position, the president, wants what's best for the country. When I say more times than not, I would say 44 out of 45.
I'm also really laughing at one of our viewer comments we just had here that speaking of Uranus.
I thought I'd read that after we talked about.
I know we're talking about presidential stuff.
So
anything with that with you?
Yeah. So kind of along both lines. Obviously, he's some of the things that have been brought up as far as his presidency or his time as the president, whichever. That's neither here nor there. Times have changed since then. He may not have been, he may not have held exactly the same views. I don't know how much he was, vocal about, his views as of, the last couple of years. If he had, talked about anything. But like Josh said, it is someone's father, brother or something, he's family to somebody and, friends to somebody and, other people. And he was no matter what, he was an important political figure, regardless of his policies or anything like that. I think anybody who holds the presidential office, in any spot in the presidency or presidential office in the White House, they hold significant roles in the United States, whether or not what they do with those roles is good or bad, but the political party, kind of goes out the window when it's just we're talking about a person's life, and that's really the biggest thing. Is I feel I am in a kind of a humanitarian mindset for most of the things that happen, where I would rather people, have a good life no matter what their, shitty opinions they may hold.
So you're not looking at it from a presidential standpoint, you're looking at it from a human standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, death is a part of life and everything like that. Everybody, starts dying the minute they're born and all that jazz. So as far as his presidential policy, it kind of goes out the window when they're in bad health or, when they're 10, 20, 30 years, past their presidency. I mean, we're getting, what is it? He was a president.
1939. 29 years ago.
Yeah. So he's 3 decades almost, past presidency. So I don't know. I mean, it's just that's the least important thing. I was watching Russell Brand's stand up today, and this isn't exactly equating, but he said he was accused of being a gay reptilian Illuminati, and at the point where you're called a reptilian and Illuminati, why does the gay part even matter? So he's a human and he's a president, and he has passed away. The president doesn't matter. He was just a human at that point. So
I think more of it is just because, to me at least, is people pass away all the time. This person was more of a historical figure and will be looked upon by the world, or at least talked about for the next week or so. Probably.
Well, I mean, they shut down. I mean, they gave the government a holiday
today. Yeah.
Today. So, I don't foresee it being. I think it was kind of an impromptu thing. I don't think that he'll get, his own. We're not going to have George H.W. Bush Day, for the years to come. But it's definitely something that doesn't. I mean, nobody shut down. The government didn't shut down for Stan Lee. I mean, as much as a lot of people would have rather probably had that happen, Stan Lee Day, we're not, that you're just messing with people's, lives and emotions at the point where you either get mad at somebody's viewpoints in death, or, criticize the way they live their life. I don't wish death upon many people, in thought, but even if I do, I don't actually, I would feel real shitty if somebody kicked the bucket after I thought, oh man, I wish they bit the curb or something like that. So
remind me to bring up a story about that in a second.
Okay.
But I think one of the things too, and this is interesting. I never actually knew this was a thing until I saw a letter. I got a letter from the University of Nebraska at Omaha, and apparently in the state of Nebraska, whenever a like National Day of Mourning is announced, apparently Nebraska state law says like the entire state government and state institutions honor it as well. So like Nebraska state government shut down. All the public schools had a public school holiday today, like just unannounced, like, okay, everybody gets the day off because of this, that, like it was crazy. Like, so Monday, Donald Trump said, hey, this is going to be a national event. And then I got an email from UNO, University of Nebraska at Omaha, being like, hey, since we're a Nebraska funded school, like state organization, our school teachers can't show up today, so obviously we're not going to have any classes on Wednesday. So it was just really interesting to see that happened, and I have never seen something like that happen.
Was that for OPS too?
I don't know if like it counted on that level because it technically wasn't like a Nebraska state institution, but like all the DMVs were closed, I think, today.
Yeah. Tasha, well, like even USIC, it's government locating, and they were closed today.
Yeah. So, but so, and this is in terribly bad taste, but I just kind of wanted to bring it up because it happened to me once. Drew said he'd like never want like to be like, oh, I hope this person dies, and then that person dies. But one time working at Carlos O'Kelly's, it was around this time actually, the holiday season, pre-Christmas. There was like a big group of people that came in to eat, and this old lady was on like 6 or 7 margaritas, and she was just really, really sticking it to the kitchen in a way that made us really mad. Kept sending her food back, probably 3 or 4 times, because like one time she's like, oh, I didn't want beans. The second time she's like, where's my beans? The third time, oh, I didn't want cheese. Like, I mean, it was just literally this like same stupid tostada kept getting sent back all the time. And literally we were like, God, I hope this lady dies. And I kid you not, she dropped dead in our parking lot that night. And I like, had to call my boss, and I was like, I can't believe I just said that I hope somebody dies. And then they did. Like,
see, and now that's on the internet forever, Josh.
It is. Yeah. And I feel terrible about it. So
especially when you were working in the kitchen.
Yeah. If so-and-so's grandmother died at Carlos O'Kelly's in the parking lot, and she had like a heart problem. So like, I mean, obviously 6 margaritas was most likely the cause for her death. Not me saying I hope she dies, but I apologize to anyone who hears this and they're like, that was my relative. Like, really sorry. Ironically, not the only person to die at Carlos O'Kelly's. We actually had someone die in our restroom too.
Was it like a Clerks type deal, or was it?
It was another old person, like had a heart attack and died in the restroom, and they didn't find her till the end of the night.
But it wasn't like a Clerks type deal where she
I don't think so.
Like asked for a nudie magazine and some soft linen toilet paper.
No, it was not one of those Clerks deals. But yeah, it was crazy. So if the Chick-fil-A on 20-something I think Cornhuskers ever haunted, it's because they built that Chick-fil-A on haunted Carlos O'Kelly's ground.
Well, nobody's going to go to Chick-fil-A anyway after Raising Cane's opens up.
I'm so excited.
It's the coolest thing that's happening
Dale,
in Bellevue.
you've never been to Raising Cane's before, have you?
Raising Cane's? No.
Yes. Oh, it's really good.
What kind of restaurant is it?
It's a chicken finger restaurant, but like they have the juiciest chicken. And like the chicken's not anything to like write home about. Like it's juicy.
Really
it's
good.
the cane sauce and the toasty bread.
They give you Texas toast with it, and it's
Testies toast.
delicious. Yes, Testies toast.
And have you ever got it bobbed?
Bobbed?
Butter on both sides for your toast?
No.
Oh, it's the best.
I like my toast dry, please.
I usually, so what I tell them is I get no slaw, extra toast.
Yeah, well, I get the box combo, no slaw, extra toast, and then
Is this like a chain?
Yeah. It is. Yeah, they're like, so the reason why I was asking if you ever went, because Tom in Michigan literally posts like all the time that he goes to Raising Cane's, and like it's usually when he's like out traveling about, but I just didn't know if there was one like in Michigan or something.
I'll Google it, but I don't think there is.
But it's just really good. Their fries are scrumptious, crinkle cut fries. Yep. But man, They're putting one like literally a mile from me and Josh's house, 2 miles. Like,
Yeah, there's one in Southfield. Oh no, there's not. All right, that's Uncle Joe's Chicken Fingers.
Ugh.
yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Uncle Joe's.
I don't want Uncle Joe's sauce.
I don't want Uncle Joe's anything.
The nearest one is in Strongville, Ohio, and that is a while away.
Well, when you're in here, when you're here for either Planet or Okamacon,
Ding.
we'll have to get you to a Cane's.
Get you a Caniac combo. I think I wanted to get Cane's at one day. Like when we were at Comic-Con one day, I was like, let's go get Cane's.
Josh, you're super quiet.
Sorry, I'm too far away from the mic here. But yeah, there was a awesome place. Cane's is so good.
What else did you have?
Yeah, what's on our list, Dale?
I have the GM layoffs.
That is
Ooh.
super sexy.
Yeah.
Brett lose his job?
Did who?
Brett?
I haven't talked to him.
Oh.
I do not know. However, this is what I have for that. It's supposed to be 14,800 jobs lost because of slowing demand in U.S. and China for sedans, and the 4 plants that are I don't know if they're planning to close, have closed, or in talks of closing are Lordstown, Ohio, Detroit and Warren, Michigan, and Baltimore, Maryland.
2 in Michigan.
Yep.
So the somebody had posted about that the other day, one of my friends, and said that he wouldn't buy a car that was manufactured out of the U.S. by what is it? What's the labor union?
UAW.
The UAW. He was like, I won't buy a non-American produced car by anybody who doesn't work for the UAW. And
Good luck.
I was like,
That's a small breed, or a dying breed.
My
Yeah.
Tesla's 100% American.
Yeah. Not made in the U.S.
Yeah, most
Or not
Ford
made in-
aren't made in the U.S. anymore. Most GMs aren't made in the U.S.
well, and he's
anymore.
a Chevy. I mean, he's a Chevy guy, which is, I mean, GM basically. But
It's just, I think what a lot of this did, and it's, I know I don't want to be political, but we already started talking about this. Literally a lot of everybody who's like, hey, tariffs on steel and aluminum, this is what's going to happen. And we're just economic experts. What do we know? And then we're like, no, we're going to do it anyways. And so we put tariffs on steel and aluminum for China, and China's like, fine, we'll get it somewhere else. And then now, it's affected a lot of different companies, with the exception of Tesla, because Tesla's like, sure, get your aluminum wherever you want. We just want to build our cars over there for you. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I do have some friends that have lost their jobs already.
Yeah.
I do have, I know of some people that are worried about their job. The other car companies, Chrysler and Ford, they're in talks, or at least the news is kind of talking about possibly layoffs. And that is not rumor. I would say that's actually possible to happen. My job is quite secure. I do work at Ford. I think my job is in what's called product development. So it's more of it's hard to find somebody else to do it or to consolidate it. So I feel I'm safe, but it's unfortunate for the other people because a lot of the systems are moving from analog to digital. And because of that, a lot of the people who used to work in analog can't come up to digital. So they either have to be forced retired or they do have to get laid off. So we could have some layoffs here, at least for Ford, coming up here soon as well.
okay, so real quick, the GM stuff, is that related to the tariffs and tax and tariffs that Trump put into place?
I can't say for 100% yes or no. It probably has a factor to it, but what I found online is it's because of the slow demand for sedans, because Ford has already said that, they quit cutting, they did not no longer doing the Fiesta in the United States, no longer doing the Focus except for the Active, no longer doing Taurus, no longer doing Fusion, no longer doing
Pretty much everything but the Mustang.
yeah, the Mustang, and then like I said, a little bit of a Focus Active, Focus RS type of stuff like that, like the sporty end, but they only sell like 1,000 a year. And so those are pretty much like all going out the way. So it's all going to be, people want crossovers, and that's the same thing with a lot of countries, even Europe and South America and China. A lot of people want the small crossover SUV because you have more space, good fuel economy, and you can use it to I don't know,
haul or whatever.
do stuff, or people think they do, they never do.
Yeah. So the reason I brought that up, and as opposed to any other reasons, was because I know that as soon as that was announced, I think he said something about that he was going to cut. So I can't think of the.
Who's he?
Trump.
Okay.
Said that he was going to cut like the write-offs for GM or whatever. So it was like he caused it, and then he's also taken it out because that's why I was asking is if that was kind of a.
I think a lot of people are trying to blame it like a one-on-one comparison. I'm not sure, based on what I can tell, like actual hard data, yes or no, if that's tariffs cause that. I believe that if you're a company and you don't plan for this to happen, then stuff like this will happen. So it is what it is. It happens in waves too. A lot of people now are.
I think the other thing that really is making it hard for GM, especially in China. So China is the largest largest users of cars right now in the world. So there's more people buying cars in China than there are anywhere else in the world right now. And one of the things that is really taking a toll on the companies like GM, Tesla, and things like that that are trying to build in China are these Chinese auto manufacturers. And we actually featured one of those Chinese auto manufacturers in our auto show video from last year.
Was it GAW or GUA?
GAC.
The Guangzhou Automotive Group is one of the reasons why, too, as well, that less people are buying GM cars and they're buying these GACs, which are essentially Chinese knockoffs for a lot of the same cars. I mean, your GMC and your GACs looked almost identical sitting across from each other at the auto show, except one was manufactured in China and all the money went to China. The other one's, not, it's an American company. And I think that was one of the major things there too, is that, China's already been primed to have this happen. So I think I think Dale said, it's kind of poor planning on that sense, like for GM to be like, hey, we need to do something about this. It was one of those things where when I was at the auto show, I've never heard of that auto company before, but they came in swinging at the North American Auto Show.
And it has made an impact in Detroit. I can tell you that. A lot of, we have a lot of, like my job specifically, we deal with emissions in the United States, and we deal with like regulatory governmental issues within the engine. And it is China, the GA. I don't know about the GAC company specifically, but I know that China wants to start selling cars in the United States like now, like they're ready to go, like they want to push everything out. So,
I mean, are their emission standards more strict than ours or less strict?
More strict.
China's
emission standards are more strict. They have a lot more, at least everything that we deal with in the United States is what's considered level 5. You don't really need to know about any of the other stuff. They're considered level 5. United States, parts of Europe are level 5. Pretty much the outskirts are anywhere not in a major city. And China, some of Europe is a 6.1 is what we call it. And China's a 6.2. So they have something in their vehicle called a gas particulate filter. And we're trying to implement this in the United States as well, but it's more issues bringing it out of the United States than it is in other countries. And with the gas particulate filter, diesel already has a diesel particulate filter because when it burns, it leaves bits of carbon in there. And so they believe that the gas particulate filter will help with emissions and help with fuel economy. And so that's being tested in China right now, and it'll most likely be implemented within the United States in about 2021.
I know that the Chinese manufacturers in other countries outside of China are not as regulated as they are in China.
So it's all where you sell the vehicle.
So the Chinese manufacturers in like Brazil have some of the worst emission standards in Brazil, even though Brazil has a higher emission standard than.
And it's also the size of the company too. Like a company that's more well known, like GAC, that comes to the North American Auto Show, probably has a stricter bond on how they produce cars and what they do compared to other car companies. Apparently, there's over 400 car companies that are in China, when there's only like 20 in the United States.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of North American Auto Show, is that January this year? January, February, I think.
I do not know.
We should probably look that up again, because I think we got really good coverage. I still to this day show off the video when I'm like selling phones to people, and they're like, "Oh, I want to record really nice video." I was like, "This is recorded with a Samsung Galaxy S8, and it's beautiful."
Yeah.
But just that video. Kudos again for making that video. Those of you guys who are curious, go back on our YouTube channel. Just check out our North American Auto Show Sexy Nerd Science video. We have just a bunch of B-roll footage of pretty much the entire North American Auto Show. Everybody we got to see, just super awesome cars.
So the North American Auto Show, at least in Detroit, will begin on January 12th, but it'll really be open on January 14th.
Okay.
And
so
the public show will be from the 19th to the 22nd.
I might plan on coming to Michigan around that time.
Definitely. We should definitely do it again. Drew, try to make it out here. It'd be awesome to have you. You can hold the sound equipment.
I mean, if it's
hold the sound equipment.
I'm joking.
I'm the face of this place, don't you know?
With you opening every single time, everyone's like, "Yeah, where's Drew's voice? Where's Drew?" This year will be the 30th year of the the North American International Auto Show.
Definitely going to that then.
Yep.
There's always something good going on too, I think. But yeah, so that's a hard hitting thing. I mean, with anytime there's layoffs involved and American jobs at stake, especially when it comes to automotive. I don't know, Dale, if you recognize this as much as I did growing up, but well, no, I'm sure you did.
In the engineering business, yes.
But I mean, when we were kids, everybody's mom and dad worked for one of the big three, and
no, that was not the case for me.
It seems like all of my friends were involved in it, and then once there were layoffs, because I specifically remember layoffs in the early 2000s, late 90s, that were a big deal. I remember 2008 layoffs.
It happens every 10 years or so.
I know. Well, exactly. Yeah, 2008 when I moved back. The fact that there were a ton of layoffs.
It's more for the fact of
job in Detroit.
Yeah, it's because we have three big car companies, and they're all their headquarters right here. GM downtown, Chrysler in Hamtramck, Auburn Hills, can't remember exactly, and then Ford in Dearborn. So it's hard to say, oh, Detroit is still the auto capital of the world, not just because we build cars here, we still do, at least for the time being. It's more of the design is here. You see so many car companies here, not just with the big three that we have here, but also, people drive and tear apart the other cars. So you have a lot of actually the third-party dealers. Before I worked for Ford, I worked for a third-party dealership or a third-party company that built trailer hitches for all the different vehicles. So we had all these different vehicles we had to go see and inspect and tear apart. So we had actually go to what's called SEMA. I don't know what that stands for, but SEMA is all about cars and pretty much third-party accessories for that as well. Yeah. So it's showing off the cars, BMW, all this other stuff, but
it's hugely impactful.
It's hugely impactful, and so not just the big three; it's all the vehicles have, different. I got a job interview for a light company that did exclusive lights for Nissan. So all the lights from Nissan, the backup lights and the headlights and whatnot, that's all third-party stuff. And they did it, and then they sold. They would sell it to them. and that's all they did. That's their whole job, was to just do headlights and taillights for Nissan cars. And they had a few other things, but they said like 80% of it was Nissan. And like same with anything, is it's all like farmed out to different companies.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to make sure that, you know, we have a pretty big audience in Michigan as well. So shout out to all you guys. I hope everything's okay job wise. Because yeah, it's tough. And I joked around. I was like, oh, does Brett still have a job? But like, by all means, Brett might actually not have a job with Cadillac.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him recently. Brett, shout out.
Vacation. So
yeah, he's in Arizona, I think.
They're on their way back. But yeah, Brett, message us back. Find out what's going on, buddy.
Moving on to the next sexy news. I actually saw this on Facebook. It was just a trailer. There's a new movie called The Upside. It's starring Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, and Nicole Kidman. And it's about this guy named, or I don't know the guy's name, but it's about Bryan Cranston. And he's paralyzed. He can talk and move his neck a little bit, but he's paralyzed in the arms and legs. And he needs somebody to help him. And so Kevin Hart, which is like pretty much, he's not a gangster, but he's just like more from the streets kind of character he's playing. He stumbles in and says, hey, I'm just looking to, do a small job interview where he's trying to do something. And he actually gets the job because of his more outward attitude towards it. And they become friends. And it's more of a, like, looking at life in a different way type of movie. So look at check out the trailer, at least for you guys listening, and Josh and Drew. I thought it was pretty cool. I like Bryan Cranston. He's done a lot of good stuff. So yeah, just wanted to touch base on that.
Speaking of movies, I went and saw Ralph Breaks the Internet, which was the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, essentially. It was really good. So there was a lot of tie-ins now that, like, Disney, like, because Ralph gets on the internet, there's a lot of memes from the internet that were there, a lot of like internet jokes. But the fact that, like, technically Pixar and Disney are the same company, and Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel and all these other things. Like, there was a lot of like combining all that together in the internet universe. So there was a lot of really funny like Disney cameos. Specifically, the Disney princesses were in Wreck-It Ralph. Like, all of the Disney princesses up until now were in Wreck-It Ralph, and
that was a big thing that was coming down the pipeline when it was first announced, as they were in the trailer.
Yeah, and to the point where, like, they could probably make like a Pixar movie with all of the Disney princesses in it, and I think it would be a really good movie. Like, I don't know what the plot.
Call them Pixar princesses,
but like, it would be I think it would be so good. And yeah, the movie was really good. I really liked watching it. I went into it just being like, oh, it's Thursday. I've got a discounted movie ticket. Like, I'll watch, it's the only thing that's playing, And so I just went there anyways to go see it, and it turned out to be a good movie. So
awesome.
Breaks the Internet. Check it out.
Your mom, Drew, says something real quick. Beef recalls expands as salmonella cases quadruple in 2 months. The U.S. government expands a recall for ground beef Tuesday as an outbreak of salmonella has quadrupled. 246 people in 25 states have, since the first recall was first announced in October, NBC4 New York reported. The recall doubled from 6 million to 12 million pounds of beef recalled so far.
Dang.
So a little piece of information. Thank you, Miss Bobby Brown.
I also
that's our reporter in the field.
Yeah, our field reporter, Bobby Brown.
Mommy Brown.
We one of the things I was reading about with a lot of these E. coli outbreaks and things, apparently, and again, this, not to be political, but this is just something that I find kind of ironic. There was a section of the FDA, I think it was the FDA, that's supposed to be doing tests for food for like E. coli and like safety standards, that lost their funding and had to get rid of that whole entire department. And now we're seeing more and more cases of foodborne illness like E. coli and salmonella getting out there, because whereas instead of having the government check all of this stuff, we're leaving it up to private companies, and the private companies aren't doing so hot at doing it. So Yeah, just one of those things that cutting funding for FDA and all those federal programs, not the best. I don't know if it was the FDA. I want to say it was either CDC, FDA, something like that for food, but
Food and Drug Administration.
that's the FDA. But I didn't know if that was exactly who was in charge of it. But there was a federal company that basically had to lay off the entire section of it. Like the jobs don't exist anymore with this current administration.
Probably the FDA.
Now there's a lot more problems happening that shouldn't be happening that would have been screened and checked had we done this. So
Dale, I sent you a picture.
Yeah, barely.
and then nerdy news. Anybody have any nerdy news? Is there more science news or sexy news?
That is all for sexy news. I have a few things for nerdy news.
Do it to it, Lars.
I have something for nerdy news.
Do it up.
Smash Brothers drops Friday.
I'm so excited.
Which one is this?
The Smash Brothers
Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo Switch Smash Brothers Ultimate, yeah. So I'm really excited. Hopefully we just toss it on the credit card like everything else and call it good.
Yeah, my credit card wasn't maxed out.
I didn't buy a plane ticket for some girl that needed to come to Nebraska.
You didn't pay your cell phone bill on time either. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's getting a little too personal, guys.
I never pay my cell phone bill on time. What do you?
Me neither.
So Super Smash Bros. Comes out. Super excited for that. And then this Friday is Tasha's birthday as well. So
Happy birthday.
We have there was another game that came out on her birthday.
I can't hear you, Josh.
There was another game that came out on Tasha's birthday.
I don't know.
I thought I remember. I don't know, but
On Friday?
I'm really excited for not like this Friday. Like previous years, I remember she's like, it's my birthday, and I'm at the midnight launch party for this. I can't remember.
Oh,
what
I
it
don't
was.
know.
But yeah, I'm excited for Smash Brothers. I still every once in a while will play on my 3DS because that's all I had because I didn't have the Wii U to play Smash Brothers on. But with this, I think it's going to be really awesome. I really want to see the connectivity of being able to bring your Switch places and just be around somebody and wirelessly connect and play that way. And then also be able to put it on TV. And so
Let's see
cool.
here.
Fox McCloud for life. That's right. I'm
Who's
sure
Fox McCloud?
Fox McCloud. You know who Star Fox?
Oh, that's his real name?
You dumb. You dumb.
But well, there goes Dale's
Dale
sexy
Street
question.
Crush.
No. I didn't get a legit question.
I know.
Oh, wait, this is a dumb question, Drew.
So Fox McCloud is probably going to be nerfed
Then you pick one.
a whole.
No. You did it. We're going to do that one.
Seeing as how anything since Melee, Fox has been nerfed pretty bad, and it's no longer as much fun to play as him.
You can't do melee mode anymore?
No, you can, but so in Melee, whatever, he was like super fast, super strong, was awesome at doing counters, and then when Brawl came out, they kind of slowed him down a little bit.
Can you not do melee anymore?
You can still play Melee, Super Smash Brothers, but when Super Smash Brothers Brawl came out,
That's the name of it.
that's the name of the new. Yeah, they
Okay,
slowed
I'm sorry.
Fox. They sped up Falco.
I thought it was like a game mode.
Yeah. So they wanted to make faster characters, so they had to slow down Fox. But then they also took away some of his power and gave the hard-hitting, slow thing to Wolf, who's the other character. And I think with all the characters that are going to be in Smash Brothers Ultimate, I think there's 40 characters that are going to be in Smash Brothers Ultimate. So it's the biggest list of characters we've ever had. There's probably going to be a lot more nerfing of specific characters, which isn't as fun, I guess, but yeah.
I'm just super excited that they kept the GameCube controller compatibility with it. So
Still with my nunchuck controllers. I don't know why.
I'll get my compatible adapter and pull out all my GameCube controllers and but the connectivity between consoles is definitely something that I'm looking forward to. Just like with the the DSs and the Wii U and stuff like that.
So, did you guys play DS or Wii U as much as you play the Switch?
So when I got the Wii U, I thought it was going to be the Switch. I thought I was going to be able to take the gamepad with me and boot up a saved game and play it. Basically, it would transfer any data to the handheld device and I could play it. But after you got like 30 feet away, it was garbage. So now,
yeah, the Wii U was more of like a Nintendo Wii dual screen kind of idea.
Well, that, but you could single screen and then so I could watch TV on the TV and then play the full game on the gamepad. And then, but like if I was playing it on the TV, I could have like the map up or something like that. Yeah. And they had a lot of cool compatibility. Like you could use the gamepad as like a tee for golf. So you could have it set on the ground and use it with the Wii nunchuck or the Wii and the nunchuck and go from there. But,
so do you think that this is like Nintendo did a great job with this?
The Switch is definitely, on par with one of the greater consoles as far as its accessories and things like that that Nintendo's made. That being said, its power is obviously going to be nowhere matched to, the Xbox or even a PC.
I would rank it in my popularity above GameCube, but not as good as the Wii.
So now, how often do you play the Wii compared to how often you play the Switch?
I played the Wii all the time.
Oh, did you?
That was one of the things. And I think one of the things that really made the Switch appealing too is like by putting the full games on it as well. Like, so by having, the reason why I play my DS so much, I was going to say, is because Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time 3D, plus the Pokemon aspect of the DS is what made my DS get as much usage as it did until Brittany used it and never charges it anymore. But like, it was one of those things where I played a lot on the DS, but with the GameCube having Legend of Zelda Master Quest on it, plus all the Smash Brothers Melee, like that made GameCube huge. And then like the Wii, the revolutionary idea behind having the Wiimote and things like that made the Wii a more popular game for me. It was right in when like group gaming was a big thing, where, you get everyone together and you play Wii Sports for a little while. Like that was fun on the Wii, but then also you could still play things like Assassin's Creed, Star Wars, The Force Unleashed, things like that on the Wii. And I loved all of that. So okay. I think if I had to rank my consoles, it's going to go N64, Super Nintendo, NES, Wii, GameCube. But now I'd put the Switch somewhere between GameCube and the original Wii.
See, my number one in Nintendo is the Switch right now. But definitely the Wii is probably the third, because mine's Switch, GameCube, Wii. Okay. Wii, the only game that I love, like that I almost kept my Wii for, was Skyward Sword. That was almost the first VR experience, almost, because you had the one-to-one ratio. So you turned the Wiimote with the Motion Plus, and it gave you that exact turn with your sword. So I could hold my sword straight with the blade up and down, and then all I had to do was turn my hand and the blade was side to side. And so it moved exactly like you did. And
that mattered in the game.
It did.
Like you could sword slap somebody with the broad end of the sword, but if you turned it, then you would actually chop into things.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That accuracy, that's one of the things that I think made the Wii an awesome. Like in the beginning, we're like, oh, cool, swords by swinging the nunchuck. But then like it got even better with the Motion Plus control.
So does the Switch not have that with the two little side things?
Well, so the Switch controllers have that motion, that one-to-one motion, but they haven't implemented it in a game like they did, because right now, you move the motion for like screen movement. So okay. I can use this. I can use the nunchuck or the Switch remotes, the Joy-Cons, to do bow and arrow stuff. So I can, use the motion sensor to raise my view up one way or another. But they don't have an implement in a game right now that's 1-to-1 with a specific thing. Because or like in the bow and arrow game, or when you're shooting bow and arrow, you could actually pull the nunchuck away from the Wiimote and press a button, and it would fire an arrow. Because
Gotcha.
it would know the proximity of the nunchuck to the Wiimote. So I mean,
Cool.
that was the closest thing you're going to get to VR without getting a full VR setup.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's why I love the Wii too. It's up there. That's why it's above the GameCube.
But like the Switch, right? I mean, the GameCube had Wind Waker, and everybody can shit on Wind Waker all they want, but I loved it.
And when you were a tiny kid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, but the Switch, I mean, it's got things like the portability. You've got the the versatility of the dock. You have the completely, the cardboard. I can't think of whatever the Labo. Thank you. You've got the creativity aspect of the Labo. Charlie and I have spent many nights building that stuff on and off, and we haven't got through all of just the first kit yet because she wants to play with either it's
a versatile system. I think that's one of the best ways to put it.
Yeah.
There's so much, and I think as far as Nintendo is concerned, they've probably tapped into 20%, 25% of what the Switch is capable of doing. I mean, it's because even the Punch-Out game was another one that's fairly accurate on the 1-to-1 ratio there as well.
And they're not using it. I mean, you're only using that for the motion, though. You're not. You're only using it for the directional motion. You're not actually using like 1-to-1 necessarily.
That was one of the things. So what the Motion Plus controller did is it not only tracked the infrared end on the Wii sensor, it also put a 9-axis gyroscope accelerometer in the nunchuck. So the new Joy-Cons don't have an infrared sensor, like they're not being tracked via infrared.
They have IR.
But they're being tracked by it on the.
I don't know if
I don't think they are, but
because
I know you can use them to point at the thing and like.
So on the
remotes for our TV now.
Talk on the mic, Josh.
The remotes are purely done through the accelerometer as far as your motion.
Maybe.
Remotes.
I was gonna say because I know that in one of the Labo things you can use the it's the little crawly creepy thing with the 6 legs. It's technically supposed to be a car, but you can set the settings to where because the IR sensor looks forward, so you can actually view that IR screen. So I could view an IR picture of our faces or whatever.
Yeah, there's an IR reader, not like on the end of the Joy-Con, but like the system itself, like so the Wii had the infrared bar
you're
at the
talking
top
about
that would just track the infrared signal being emitted from the end of the Wii mode. Yeah. But it's more now purely done through accelerometers, and that's still just as good. So like our TVs don't use infrared. We just point at the TV, but it uses the accelerometer to change where the arrow goes on there. So it was really good. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons why I think like the new VR headsets are going to be even better. Like I'm just so excited. I really want a Vive now. I know I was talking about that before this, but I'll show you what I was looking at there. Yeah.
Cause I mean, then you only have the 2 cables with the we'll talk about it later.
We might be getting a VR headset, people.
Maybe. I don't know. But so Dale, do you have anything else?
Yeah. So for those guys who are Dragon Ball fans, Dragon Ball Super, the Broly movie, that comes out January 16th. Are you guys excited for that? And then how do you guys feel about the new trailers?
The Brawley movie's in dub form on the 16th, right?
Correct. It came out tonight in Japanese.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I bring it up.
I am excited. The trailers look really good. I did have someone talk to me about some of the, so because Akira Toriyama didn't actually write Dragon Ball Super, apparently there's things that have happened in Super that aren't technically canon, but because Akira Toriyama actually made the movies now, which is complete reverse from what they used to be, but the movies now take precedence in canon over the Dragon Ball Super animated TV series. So there's some like the Kaioken Super Saiyan Blue is no longer canon. It's not an option. You can't do it. So in the movie for Brawley, they won't be able to do that. Like,
yeah, they turn blue.
They turn blue, Super Saiyan Blue, but they can't do the Kaioken while they're blue. So in Dragon Ball Super, when Hit is fighting Goku in the first tournament, Goku does like Kaioken 20 and Super Saiyan Blue.
Yeah, he does it in the Tournament of Power too.
Yeah, he does. You're right. But I mean, Tournament of Power, Ultra Instinct is the main thing there, and that's canon still, thank God. But so that's not a thing there, and Vegeta's Super Saiyan Rage that he does is also not
You
canon.
talking about the dark blue?
Yeah, the extra. So that the thing that Vegeta did when Vegeta was fighting Jiren.
No, Torpo.
No, not that
Tobo.
one. No, not Tobo. Like Vegeta fights Jiren in the Tournament of Power and does like a raged out Super Saiyan thing that gives him a little more power, where he's almost like Ultra Instinct.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's no longer canon now either with what's happening in Brawley.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see, like, because they're kind of making them less strong than they could be in order for it to be a better fight with Brawley. And that's, to me, like, okay, I get it. Like, that's what Dragon Ball's been doing the whole time. Like, they forget that certain things existed and then play it out.
It's
and
like
oh my God, this is a thing.
They have
it's
to
like, what is it called? What's that show that makes for? Or it's like the Dragon Ball Z parody. Yeah, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Did he forget he can teleport? It's like that. Just chalk it up to stupidity.
And longevity of a TV show. So Funimation just signed a deal with Hulu. So there's going to be a lot more Funimation content on Hulu. But I was using VRV for a while, and VRV lost their contract with Funimation. So all of the dubs that I was watching for Dragon Ball Super were now taken off of VRV.
Are they?
Yeah, so they're not on VRV anymore.
Dang.
You can only watch them on Funimation's app, which is $5 a month cheaper than VRV, so kind of worth it.
Yeah.
But not for only Dragon Ball.
But here's the thing. Yeah, well, and now, so Dragon Ball Super only goes up to episode 63 in the dubs on Funimation's website. Like, and it's not because they don't have them. Like, they exist out there. Like, it's dubbed all the way up to the Tournament of Power now. But Funimation's just like, oh, we don't want to release that content even for paying customers yet.
I don't care who you are, dub's better than sub.
I like both. I really do. But I love, like, I'm now watching My Hero Academia and all these other things. I love Chris Sabat. Like, he is by far one of my favorite voice actors. And when I recognize him in other things, like,
I know you've sucked his dick so much at cons.
Shut up.
So I have a question then. So you're saying Chris Sabat is speaking Japanese?
No, Chris Sabat's in the dub. He does Vegeta, Piccolo, and then he also does All Might from My Hero Academia. And it's just really fun to hear something like you're like, oh, that sounds like something All Might would say, but it's like Vegeta saying it instead. And I'm just like, ooh, it's good.
So I actually watched all in subs. I prefer dubs because I can focus on the show more. But I've started to like, wait, Goku sounds like that when I listen to the dubs because I've listened to the sub so much. I recognize their voices. January 16th for the dubbed version in Japanese. It just came out today, so it'll most likely be subbed by the end of the night, if not already.
I'm gonna say I was like, I'm gonna find the sub and
Yeah.
probably watch it first.
Usually a 7:00 showing for our time will come out by 11, so it'll be subbed very quickly.
Yeah.
Especially a movie like that, it's been a lot of up things.
It's probably already been out too. Honestly,
Yeah.
it's gonna be simulcast. Honestly.
Next thing I have is Doctor Who. I know you guys don't talk about Doctor Who that much, but Doctor Who, for those of you guys who are Whovians, Jodie Whittaker is leaving Doctor Who. So the current Doctor, the woman Doctor, is season 11 is airing right now. That's what's been airing for the past few weeks. However, in season 12, so after this season and then the next season coming out next year, that'll be her last season. So she will regenerate after that. She says, "Oh, go ahead."
I was going to ask if she had a reason.
Yeah, she has a reason. She says that she's leaving because of Chris Chinball. I don't know the guys how to pronounce it. Chibnall, Chris Chibnall. He's the writer and producer of Doctor Who currently. He's done Torchwood. He's done a few other things here and there. The direction of the show is not what people are liking right now. I haven't seen the past few episodes. Me and Amanda like to watch them together, and we haven't had a chance to. So the direction of the show isn't going where a lot of Whovian fans like, not just because of the woman aspect, just because of the whole story aspect. And so I believe he will be getting laid off after season 12. So his contract ends in 12, and they're not going to renew it. And so she's going to leave with him.
No, he's leaving, or
what now?
It's not creative differences. It's they're actually seeing eye to eye, and she doesn't want to do it unless he's doing it.
Correct. And so the people who own Doctor Who, BBC, say that they don't want Chris
guy,
the producer and writer, being there anymore.
So what happened to Moffat then? Because I remember like Stephen Moffat was like the guy.
Yeah, he was
Torchwood and Sherlock.
Yeah, everyone really likes him. Creative differences.
Yeah.
So it's got to be hard with a show like Doctor Who that's been going for how many years?
55?
100.
To keep us. I mean, they've got to get into some, like, with new regenerations, some, I don't know.
Did you see our live video got interrupted?
No. You guys can't see it anymore. I'm showing nothing, no problems on my side.
Okay. I'm going to refresh.
Let me take a little look, see.
With a show like Doctor Who, yeah, it's just showing live. I don't know.
The producer and writer.
So yeah, that was me. So for a show like that, it's got to be hard to keep a storyline going.
Oh yeah,
and not one redo things. I mean, you've got almost like an American Horror Story turn with it after each regeneration and start a whole new like storyline, right?
So well, it's not a whole new storyline. It's more of a they still build off previous doctors and they still off previous bad guys or previous whatever, but it's more of the way the story gets told or the way the story arc, the main background. Like each story has its own, they're fighting bad guys, they're fighting aliens of some kind. They have to.
Each season's going to have a specific arc, but it's going to be one big.
Yeah. So that's
a D&D campaign.
Yeah, that overall story arc is not really easy to follow, at least that I can tell. Normally it's been, leading up to something. This seems like the main focus is she keeps losing her TARDIS. Like I got the first episode or two, but then she keeps losing it. I don't know. Kind of weird. Like I said, but the way they film stuff. How can I say this? Let me put it like this. Michael Bay, you know how he does like the lens flares?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's more of a, you can sit in front of a camera and communicate with somebody, or, you have lens flare and you can't really see everything. So I kind of want to say it's like that. It's more of a, you don't know where the storyline's going because they're not giving you everything. I know it's kind of hard to understand that, but it's a little different. It's not my cup of tea yet. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, though. I like Jodie Whittaker so far. I think she's great as the doctor, but the story I'm having an issue with. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing.
It's something that I think with the way that they tell the stories is it does, like you said, like it is like a new kind of light, but they do a really good job of like bringing companions past, like as an overlap. Like they'll bring a couple characters. They won't ever kill off like an entire group of people and not have anybody there. You know, like it is pretty good at.
So this, and that's kind of why this one's a little bit standoutish, is because in previous years, in previous Doctors, at least from when 2005 came out, they've always had an overlap somewhere. So either the companion overlapped a little bit, the Doctor overlapped a little bit, and in 2000 and
by the way, our live stream's gone, Dale, just so you know.
Yep, in 2000 and I think 13 or something, when Matt Smith took over, you had Matt Smith and Amy Pond, and that was a whole new thing. It took off from scratch. So after that, it came out, it just kept going and kept going, and they finally, Matt Smith found his, or the writers found exactly what they wanted. After the Weekend Now, it was freezing up for a minute. So we'll check at that in a second. But this Doctor Who is just, I don't know, it's not catching up. They have 3 companions this time. Yeah, not their relationship. I don't know. It's slightly weirder.
They have to split. Well, with 3 companions, you have to split the time with like that relationship building. 3 ways instead of 1 or 2. So it's yeah.
Yep, I'm showing green lights on everything for the live stream. If you guys are still seeing issues, try refreshing. On your end, I'm showing green across the board, and Restream is showing green. So I'm showing no issues at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, guys, but you can definitely watch us on YouTube.
There we go. Yeah, now it's working.
And a few other Twitter, and you can watch us on Twitch. So try those other platforms if Facebook isn't working.
So we're kind of running a little long here. I'm not going to do a science question this week, just because.
Okay.
But
safe.
Do we want to talk about anything sciencey real quick? I know that we've been getting a lot of good stuff from Insight. Obviously, we could talk in depth about that.
Love the memes. Like the joke pictures.
Yeah.
What's really happening on Mars? And it's 2 Martians like turning a mirror in front of the Insight as it's looking around, and there's a whole city behind them.
We're going to touch more base hopefully next week on Insight, more dive deep for the science. We've been a little lacking in the science, so I think we should do a deep dive for that.
We'll get a lot of insight on Insight.
Yep.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to touch on real quick for as far as science goes?
Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head science-wise. I don't remember reading anything or coming across anything. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. And I know we're crunched for time, but this is something that I think is big news. Neil deGrasse Tyson. So for those of you guys that don't know, I have a big boner for Neil deGrasse Tyson, I guess. That's probably the best way to say it.
And Neil deGrasse Tyson is who?
You know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is.
I'm more saying it for people who are listening.
He's an African-American astrophysicist, chairman of the Hayden Planetarium, and
the voice of was it?
Well, he does the voice. He does Star Talk.
Talk.
That's one of the podcasts that I listen to a lot. There have been some allegations about Neil deGrasse Tyson that he actually addressed on his Twitter. And it's one of the things that I know he doesn't want to talk about it a whole lot, and necessarily, like he says that like news and like gossip stuff is part of the reason why like allegations don't ever go over the best way. But I will say that Neil deGrasse Tyson has a statement that he released that I think is a very good statement.
It's definitely the best ones, the best, statement that's come from any of the allegations. Literally.
For sure. Yeah.
Sexual.
There's 3 different cases against
sexual misconduct
against Neil deGrasse Tyson that have come out that it was on the news, and it's currently being investigated by Fox. But I haven't heard anything really new about it. We can talk about this more next week. But it was one of these things where, I want to make sure that, we believe people when they say, hey, this happened to me, and don't just write it off. And I've said many a times that just because you like a person, if they get accused of sexual misconduct, you can't just be like, oh, they wouldn't do this because I like that person. Like, you really have to be.
So this is hard. Is this like a challenge for you then?
I don't think so, because I like to pretend that I'm a person who has, like, this is what I do, and I tell people to be this way, and I will be this way when I have to, so I can show people that you can't just talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And so I do believe the females coming forward addressing these things to Neil deGrasse Tyson. One of them, the one that's the oldest is the one that I think has the least evidence behind it, and something that, like, he is credited before, like he spoke about it before this even became a problem. So I think there's I think he's trying to defend himself the best on that one. The other two cases, though, I definitely believe the women. I understand what happened. And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson isn't necessarily saying, no, this didn't happen. He's more saying, like, hey, here's my opinion. Here's my side of the story. I didn't think this was a problem at the time. Knowing what I know now, this is a problem. I'm sorry. I hope you guys can forgive me for acting in such a way. Like, he's really asking for atonement and apologizing, which is exactly what I think needs to happen in these situations. Even if, if you're denying that it happened, you're basically saying, like, I don't care about your feelings. Like, if you feel that I sexually mistreated you, then that's your bad. Like, I didn't do that. And that's not what he's saying. He's saying, like, hey, this is what happened. I did not mean it with any intent to be something like that, but I can see how that could have come across. I'm truly sorry. Like, we need to work on this going forward.
Yeah.
And I'm open to any investigation as well. Like, he's like, Fox is doing the investigating, the National Geographic's doing an investigation as well. And he's like, I am open to all of this. So please, let's get to the bottom. Let's get the evidence, because I'm an evidence-based person. Once we have evidence, we're good. So
Yeah.
it was just a really good thing. It's about a couple paragraphs long on
1,600 words.
Yeah. I mean, it was on Twitter. Like, I mean, it was good. I mean, not it was the best thing I've read as far as an official statement is concerned.
Well, no, I'm not. The 1,600 words is by no means like exacerbating or not exacerbating, hard to read. I don't know. It comes across very genuine. Obviously it's three white dudes talking about, a white guy apologizing correctly or whatever, or a black guy apologizing correctly. But regardless, it's the best one we've gotten out of anybody who's been accused of making somebody feel uncomfortable. I don't think there was any, like, I think it was just
malice.
Well, no, I was gonna say, I don't think he did any. He had done, like, he was accused of doing anything super. Well, I guess there was a long time ago one, right?
One in the 80s where the ladies accusing him of drugging.
You talking to the mic, Josh?
There was a case in the 80s where Neil deGrasse Tyson was in grad school with a fellow graduate student who was accusing him of drugging and molesting at the time. And then I think even has come out and said that her child is also his. I don't. So the in the past she's said this. Yeah, but he said that from what he had said, the timeline for that didn't, like, equate very well. No.
But that's not. So the two more recent ones, 2018, earlier this year, and then 2009, were just like he made women feel uncomfortable in the situations that they were in, and
unwanted touching for one of them, and then I think putting someone in an uncomfortable position. Yeah, I think are what the best ways you can describe. I mean, touching someone's tattoo without permission and moving clothing out of the way so you can see a tattoo without first asking, hey, can I touch your tattoo? Can I see this? For any person could be an unwanted touch. Definitely. And then the other case was inviting a female coworker to his house for an after party, just not an after party. There was an after party, but he didn't want to go to it. Instead, he invited his female producer, over to his house for wine and cheese, which is a very common Neil deGrasse Tyson thing to do. Wine and cheese parties are something he does all the time, especially one-on-one with other people. But the fact that Neil deGrasse Tyson was kind of her boss in this situation, or at least in the position of power, shouldn't have necessarily, he should have made it more clear that it's not something that like, he's telling her to do. Yeah, it was just a bad situation to do it in that case, where somebody who, if you're a boss, you need to kind of tread lightly in those situations. Yeah, that something like this can happen, and keep it professional. So I totally agree, and I think he would agree with that statement there. I think as well, it's a good summation for what he wrote. But I encourage everyone to go read it, because Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of my favorite people. He's someone who I idolize and want to be like more of.
But like Josh had said, there's no doubt, or there's no.
I'm not doubting any of the victims.
There you go. There's no doubt on any of the victims' part, until neither proven otherwise, based on any investigations, So.
Yep.
But I mean, that's definitely a good note to end on. Yeah.
Yep.
It's not a good note, but it's.
I mean, it's a
sciencey note.
It's a definite. It's just because the topic is not good doesn't mean that it is not a good spot to end.
And if the next podcast is going to be a little more science heavy, then we can kind of do some more research into all these things.
And it'll be 3 weeks since that's happened. So
exactly. So we'll have some more news to share about those kind of things. But to kind of wrap up here, this is Sexy Nerd Science. You can find us on project-nerd.com, YouTube, SoundCloud, Tuned In, Podcast Addict, all these places where you can listen to us.
iTunes.
Watch us on YouTube. Watch us. I think we're going to link this video also to Project Nerd as well. Mm-hmm. We are part of Project Nerd's Nerd Podcast Network, Podcast Nerd Network. I forgot what we are calling it.
The Project Nerd Podcast Network.
Yeah. So we're part of that now. So
the PNCN,
whatever it is, make sure to check out some of these other podcasts that are out. There's a lot of good ones that are out there now that are on Project Nerd to check out. So
like I said, be PNPN.
Yeah, if you like listening to stuff, find all those guys there. Find the videos. It's fantastic. We've got some con announcements to kind of start announcing here in the next couple weeks. So that's going to be coming too as well. So make sure to support us on Teespring. If you guys want to get some t-shirts for Sexy Nerd Science, we still have them on Teespring. You can order those and they ship them out once people order them. So
they ship every 3 days. So you order one today, you will get it shipped Friday and then have it 7 to 10 business days after that.
Yep. So awesome shirts. They're really comfortable. One of these days I just need to buy like 100. So, and then,
and if you want to support us, you can also support us on the Project Nerd Patreon.
Yep. Yes. The Project Nerd Podcast Network Patreon. So they'll have some different tiers popping up over the next couple months, but right now they just have an early or first to know tier, and then another exclusive content tier. So,
and just I want to point out, like, even just $1 is just a thank you for being a friend donation on something like that. So if we got 100 people to all do $1 a month, that can pay for travel for Dale to come to every single convention that we need to go to this year.
And I'm not saying that I need to come to conventions, but with a little bit of my technical expertise, it helps usually more than
this podcast without Dale helping us. We barely got by.
Just because Dale had a nicer computer until.
Oh, like, you want to see what it looks like without us or without me?
Please don't. We're okay.
No, we were gone for a second. I don't know what happened.
Oh, did you black the screen out?
Black the screen out and volume and sound. You have no idea what's going on.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah. No, we were gone.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching, and tune in next week. It'll be our last stream before the Christmas break or the holiday break.
Get ready for all the see you next year.
Yeah. See you next
Dad
year.
jokes.
Yeah. I'm in for it. All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.